rise for the prayer and pledge of allegiance. Our Father,
who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, item D on the agenda is approval of minutes from April 18th, 2022, regular council. In the absence of any objections or corrections, the minutes shall stand approved. Hearing none, they stand approved. Okay, moving on to item E, citizen communication. If there's anyone in the audience that would like to address council, can step up to the microphone. Otherwise, if you are on WebEx, you can type in the chat and we will address those. Welcome.
Hi there.
Please state your name and give us your address, and then you can address council.
Hi there. My name is Lori Snyder, and I live on Maumee Street.
All right. And what is your address on Maumee Street?
It is, I would prefer not to tell. It is Maumee Street.
Okay, but for council, we do have rules that we all have to abide by because they're in our
It
ordinance.
is East Maumee Street.
Okay, we're getting closer.
All right.
How about the numbers?
179 East Maumee Street.
Thank you very much.
Now, if I get harassed, I would like public knowledge that I did not want to release my address.
So noted, thank you. What can we help you with, Lori?
Okay. I am not a public speaker, so please bear with me.
Okay,
This is just a synopsis of my concerns that has happened to me. If you have any detailed questions, please ask me privately, because some of the details I would not like to play out in public forum for all who would be concerned as parties involved. I know I'm very vague on some of this. I do know that other people have addressed these concerns. And do I have everything in here? No. You ain't got time for that. So, but I do, since I'm not a public speaker, I do have it written out, so.
Lori, can I interrupt you for 1 second? One thing
Yes.
I forgot, we do have a 5-minute limit, so I did just hit the alarm on here.
Okay, should
Okay.
be done in time.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. I used to say to a high school student, if your teacher would start out the class with, "Do you know what I heard today?" that student would have straight A's. I believe that in today's society now, I would like to tell you a little tale of my past, present, and future. In my past, I have had people tell me some outrageous stories that I thought were untrue, and some of them I sure were. I have listened to some stories that I knew were untrue, but I tried to defend the, I was tired of defending the facts and being called argumental. I am a present case of those stories that are unbelievable. I wouldn't believe them if I heard them, but they have actually happened. In fact, the more that I have presented the fact to different authority figures, the deeper the situation gets. I am an adult with these situations of unmoral and illegal acts done to me. These incidents play out, and the stories that I have may not be the stories that the community hears. The "do you know what I heard today" comes into play. This last week's incidents have me even more concerned about the youth working in our community that may be more naive than me. I am naive yet, and unfortunately an afterthinker. The facts of my story, some from the past, some from the present, that makes me concerned with the future. My addictions are Diet Pepsi and chocolate. I'm not a social butterfly, and in fact have become more antisocial because of the last few years of activities. I do not use street addresses at the current time because I believe my past ones have been compromised and the current one is more permanent than I anticipated. Prior discussions had with post office documentation documented, but not as a concern. I have been in hopes to buy a new house for quite a while. Unfortunately, that has not happened for several different reasons. Just ask why. There have been residents that I have had the what I heard today syndrome take effect that has affected my current situation along with job situations. This now has me concerned on private rentals, and my job situation is a longer story than any council meeting will allow. Everything that I have owned has been gone through. This includes belongings, residence, cars, and storage units at various times. I have had passwords gone through, money taken, internet, and phone tapped into. This has included personal and public places. My major concern is being tracked. This concerns me even more for youth adults or young adults that have trackable apps that I don't. Hopefully they are more knowledgeable on these apps than I do to prevent this. I have told people about the situations only to be told that I have done something wrong or I do not know how to use the items correctly. I am not all-knowing, I realize that, but I am a bit more savvy than what you are led to believe. I do know how to read an electric bill and turn on a computer. I do know that the scanned copy does not look like the original that I have. What I have found out is that computers can conveniently freeze with all your information attached and do not delete, and the next user can use. That my driver's license and social security card for jobs can be photocopied just as clear as the original, and that paperwork that I signed for jobs and companies are sometimes from company names that have been sold as long as 2 years ago, but the name change has not caught up on all documents, which makes me wonder if that is is always the case, more than once now. I have had trouble just signing into businesses to acknowledge me being there and have fought with insurance companies concerning claims. Told by employers that they do not take care of the health claims. FYI, companies, you may want to address this because it may be costing you more than you believe. I question duplicates or illegal activities. I'm making you aware of my unfortunate case because I believe that I have been a person told before, but I did not believe, unfortunately, and you may have been too. There are lots of stories and scams out there. I am asking for the public to be aware, and I am asking higher authorities to listen a little closer to the people that are outside your inner circle, that the inner circle may not be who you think he or she is. I know I have several stories I have been told that I'm crazy for, but I know what the facts are. As for my future, I know I will be back where I want to be, but I am concerned on who to turn to get there. But I will be back, though. Thank you for your time, and always remember there are two sides to a story. Again, if you do have any personal questions, I'm willing to answer. I'm willing to go outside the limits now.
Okay. Would you want to provide your phone number privately to either myself or maybe Joel,
Yeah.
city manager, and then?
And I do have copies of this because I know
Right.
I'm not the best at all this.
No, that was great. I appreciate you taking the time and coming to us and expressing.
I appreciate you listening. Thank you
Sure.
for your time.
Yeah,
And there's
thank you.
also, if there's anything of any illegal activity, kind of alluded to that in there. I mean, we have a
I've tried.
Lieutenant Smith here.
So that is something I would like to discuss with somebody.
Okay,
That is why I'm bringing it to a council's attention.
appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to item F, reports from council committees. F1, Finance and Budget Committee did not meet on April 25th, 2022 due to lack of agenda items. And F2, Safety and Human Resource Committees met on April 25th. Dan?
Yeah, at that time, we recommended to council to opt out of House Bill 172 and stay with our rules, and we will get to that later. And then the committee reviewed the traffic pattern at Westmoreland and Bales, and we do not recommend any changes at this time, since what has been done seems to be working well for the schools.
Thank you, Dan. Item F3, Technology Committee did not meet earlier tonight due to lack of agenda items. Okay, moving on to item H, introduction of new ordinances and resolutions. H1 is ordinance number 020-22, an ordinance approving the renewal of agricultural district located in the city of Napoleon, Ohio, as applied for by Michael W. Adams, trustee, and declaring an emergency. Have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Okay. I don't think we need any discussion on this unless somebody has any questions or comments.
Make a motion for suspension.
Second.
Okay, Rox, please call the roll on suspension.
Dan?
Yes.
Ken?
Yes.
Dave?
Yep.
Molly?
Yes.
Lori?
Yes.
Ross?
Yes.
Joe?
Yes. Have a motion on the ordinance, please. Or, I'm sorry, roll call on that.
Dan?
Yes.
Ken?
Yes.
Dr. Dave?
Yes.
Molly?
Yes.
Lori?
Yes.
Ross?
Yes.
Joe?
Yes. Okay, that's been approved on first read under suspension. Item H2, ordinance number 021-22, an ordinance approving the renewal of agricultural district located in the city of Napoleon, Ohio, as applied for by Keith Frucci and declaring an emergency.
Motion.
Second.
Okay, we need suspension on this as well.
So moved.
Second.
Hey, Rox, please call the roll on suspension.
Dan?
Yes.
Ken?
Yes.
Dr. Dave?
Yep.
Molly?
Yes.
Lori?
Yes.
Ross?
Yes.
Joe?
Yes. Any questions or comments on this one? Okay, hearing none, Rox, please call the roll on the ordinance.
Dan?
Yes.
Ken?
Yes.
Dr. Dave?
Yes.
Molly?
Yes.
Lori?
Yes.
Ross?
Yes.
Joe?
Yes. Okay, that has been approved on first read under suspension. Item H3, ordinance number 022-22, an ordinance approving the renewal of agricultural district located in the city of Napoleon, Ohio, as applied for by James F. Homan, ETAL and declaring an emergency.
So move.
Second.
All right, we need suspension on this one as well.
So move.
Second.
Rox, please call a roll on suspension.
Dan?
Yes.
Ken?
Yes.
Dr. Dave?
Yes.
Molly?
Yes.
Lori?
Yes.
Ross?
Yes.
Joe?
Yes. Do we have any questions or comments regarding this one? Sure, Dan? Mr. Holman. Okay, Rox, please call the roll on the ordinance.
Dan?
Yes.
Ken?
Yes.
Dave?
Yes.
Molly?
Yes.
Lori?
Yes.
Ross?
Yes.
Joe?
Yes. Okay, that one has passed on first read under suspension. All right. H4 is ordinance number 023-22, an ordinance approving the renewal of agricultural district located in the city of Napoleon, Ohio, as applied for by KKK BE Properties LLC and declaring an emergency.
Motion.
Second.
Okay, do I have a motion for suspension?
So moved.
Second.
Rox, please call the roll on suspension.
Dan?
Yes.
Ken?
Yes.
Dr. Dave?
Yes.
Molly?
Yes.
Lori?
Yes.
Ross?
Yes.
Joe?
Yes. Any questions or comments on this one? Hearing none, Rox, please call the roll on the ordinance.
Dan?
Yes.
Ken?
Yes.
Dr. Dave?
Yes.
Molly?
Yes.
Lori?
Yes.
Ross?
Yes.
Joe?
Yes, that has passed on first read under suspension. Item H5, ordinance number 024-22, an ordinance approving the renewal of agricultural district located in the city of Napoleon, Ohio, as applied for by Diane M. Linkenoff and declaring an emergency.
Motion.
Second.
And could I have a motion for suspension?
So moved.
Second.
Rox, please call the roll on suspension.
Dan,
Yes.
Ken,
Yes.
Dr. Dave,
Yes.
Molly,
Yes.
Lori,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
Joe.
Yes. Any questions or comments regarding this one? Hearing none, Rox, please call the roll.
Dan,
Yes.
Ken,
Yes.
Dr. Dave,
Yes.
Molly,
Yes.
Lori,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
Joe.
Yes. It's been passed on the first read under suspension. H6 is ordinance number 025-22, an ordinance approving the renewal of agricultural district located in the city of Napoleon, Ohio, as applied for by Rocky LLC and declaring an emergency.
Motion.
Second.
Okay, we need suspension on this one as well.
Motion. Second.
Okay, Rox, please call the roll on suspension.
Dan,
Yes.
Ken,
Yes.
Dr. Dave,
Yes.
Molly,
Yes.
Lori,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
Joe.
Yes. And any questions or comments? Hearing none, Rox, please call the roll.
Dan,
Yes.
Ken,
Yes.
Dr. Dave,
Yes.
Molly,
Yes.
Lori,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
Joe.
Yes. All right, that is passed on first read under suspension. I'm sorry to disappoint you all, but this is the last one. All right.
Do you need no, there's one on the
Oh,
next.
darn it.
Oh, good thing you didn't disappoint everyone.
Man, yeah. All right. Oh, I did skip one. Ordinance number 026-22, an ordinance approving the renewal of agricultural district located in the city of Napoleon, Ohio, as applied for by Kenneth W. Warwick, ETAL, and declaring an emergency.
Motion. Second.
Okay, Rox, or I'm sorry.
Motion for suspension.
Second.
Rox, please call the roll on suspension.
Dan,
Yes.
Ken,
Yes.
Dr. Dave,
Yes.
Molly,
Yes.
Lori,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
Joe.
Yes. Any questions or comments? Please call the roll on the ordinance.
Dan,
Yes.
Ken,
Yes.
Dr. Dave,
Yes.
Molly,
Yes.
Lori,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
Joe.
Yes. Got it. All right, H8 is ordinance number 027-22, an ordinance approving a certain agricultural district located in the city of Napoleon, Ohio, at the location of R-056 County Road 13A, as applied for by American Road Holdings LLC and declaring an emergency.
Motion.
Second.
There's a motion for suspension.
A motion.
Second.
Rox, please call the roll on suspension.
Dan,
Yes.
Ken,
Yes.
Dr. Dave,
Yes.
Molly,
Yes.
Lori,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
Joe.
Yes. All right, any questions or comments regarding this one? Okay, Rox, please call the roll on the ordinance.
Dan,
Yes.
Ken,
Yes.
Dr. Dave,
Yes.
Molly,
Yes.
Lori,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
Joe.
Yes. All right. We only have to do that every 5 years.
Oh, there'll be more next year.
Oh, is there? Do you know the date? Plan my vacation now for the pro tem?
We'll work that out.
All right, thank you. Okay, we have no second read, so we'll move on to item J, third readings of ordinances and resolutions. J1, it's ordinance number 012-22. It's an ordinance authorizing ODOT to work within the city limits for repainting the Route 6 overpass on Glenwood Avenue and declaring an emergency.
Motion.
Second.
Joel, you have anything on this?
Nothing new to report, thanks.
All right, thank you.
Unless anybody has questions for Chad.
All right, Rox, please call the roll.
Dan,
Yes.
Ken,
Yes.
Dr. Dave,
Yes.
Molly,
Yes.
Lori,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
Joe.
Yes.
President across the street.
Sure. Item J2, ordinance number 015-22, an ordinance establishing a fund to be titled One Ohio Subdivision Settlement Allocation Fund as required pursuant to the July 21st, 2021 National Opioid Settlement Agreement and the One Ohio Subdivision Settlement and declaring an emergency. Motion?
So moved. Second.
I
Kevin?
have nothing more to say than the last two times. It's just setting up the funds. Whenever we get the money, then it goes into that fund. And I appreciate everyone with their efforts of getting this passed on the third reading.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions or comments? Okay, Rox, please call the roll.
Dan,
Yes.
Ken,
Yes.
Dr. Dave,
Yes.
Molly.
Yes.
Lori.
Yes.
Ross.
Yes.
Joe.
Yes. All right, that's passed on third read. All right, moving on to item K, go to the city. K1 is discussion or action on recommendation for council to opt out of HB 172 regarding fireworks and to stay with our rules. Any discussion on this, or are we just directing the law director to draft legislation?
I can briefly give, or if committee chair would like to give, a summary.
I will pass to the law director.
Sure, okay. House Bill 172, passed last year, a number of changes regarding fireworks. Some of them already in effect, those don't affect us. The ones that concern me take effect July 1 of this year, and without reading what's in front of you. Basically, it allows people on certain dates, and they're listed here, New Year's Day, Chinese New Year, Cinco de Mayo, 4th of July, and so on, to possess and fire off fireworks from their own property or a property where they have permission to do so. It is my opinion, and I believe the safety services people that we had here at the committee meeting agreed that this is dangerous in a city. If somebody's firing, if I'm firing from my house, I'm surrounded by other houses, and what goes up must come down. And if it's still on fire, that's an issue. So we have the rules in place in our ordinances. We would request, I would request, and I believe Chief Mack and Chief Clayton, who's here, would request the same, that we keep our rules and that we not alter them after this House bill. This isn't, I guess, super important, but because we're a chartered community and we take a lot of our power from the Constitution, it's my opinion that we don't actually need to do this. However, in order to avoid potential litigation and confusion among the citizens, it's probably best that we go ahead and reaffirm our rules. We have the ordinance on record after it's voted on, reaffirming our rules so that there's no confusion. So I am requesting, and I think the committee's recommendation was as well, that we reaffirm our rules. So I'm asking that council direct me to draft that legislation and bring it forward. And we'll have 3 reads, and it'll take effect in this ordinance that I will draft will take effect in late June, right before these changes. So.
Thank you, Billy.
Yep.
Dan, you have anything to add?
No, just our committee voted unanimously to follow these recommendations of the law director.
Thank you. Yes.
One of the things that did surprise me was the size of the ordinance that was allowed, like M80s, you know, more than just firecracker. That's pretty good size. So,
This isn't anything different than what typically happens around the 4th of July.
It does still happen, of course,
Right.
and I know the officers do try to enforce our rules. It's difficult with a few guys on duty at the time to try to chase down 70 calls regarding fireworks, but they do their best. And it's best that we have the rules and we attempt to enforce them, in my opinion.
Chief O'Brien, have anything to add? You good? Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Okay, we just need a motion to direct the law director to draft legislation.
So move.
Second.
Hey, Rox, please call the roll.
Dan,
Yes.
Ken,
yes.
Dr. Dave,
Yes.
Molly.
Yes.
Lori,
Yes.
Ross.
Yes.
Joe.
Yes. All right, moving on to item K2, discussion or action to award the Haley Avenue SSO removal project. Who would like to discuss this?
Chad, please. I have it up on the screen. And let me zoom in on it. Can you guys read that okay?
If you have my memo, yes, we opened bids for the Haley SSO removal. We received 2 bids. The lowest and best bid, Bryan Excavating, $54,480. It is noted that that's $4,480 above our budget, but we do have the funds available in the sewer fund. Frankly, $4,400 isn't much coming out of that fund. This is a project that's required by the EPA to be completed by the end of the calendar year. So with all that in mind, it would be my recommendation to award the contract to Bryan Excavating LLC in the amount of $54,480.
Thank you, Jack. Any questions or comments regarding this? I guess I'll just ask one question. So what is SSO?
An SSO is a sanitary sewer overflow. We have 2 in town. We're required to have them both closed. The other one is to be closed by 2029. This will eliminate one, and we'll get the other one in a few years. Basically, it's a discharge from the sanitary sewer when it has too much flow that goes to the river.
All right.
The intent of them is to shove it to the river instead of inside someone's house.
Great. All right, thank you. Okay, sorry I asked.
That's okay.
All right, just need a motion to award.
A motion.
Second?
Okay, Rox, please call the roll.
Dan,
Yes.
Ken,
Yes.
Dr. Dave,
Yes.
Molly,
Yes.
Lori,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
Joe.
Yes. All right. K3 is discussion or action regarding transfer of property to the CIC. Joel? Or Billy?
Either way, so we're transferring property over. It's have we talked about the specifics of this one?
Yeah, we
Don't
did.
recall.
It's, this is the Brian Keller property on Independence, 10.10 acres, that we already have an approved CRA agreement from city council and approved purchase agreement from city council already. So those have been signed, but using CIC as our conduit, which is, typically.
It's the procedure we normally use in order to protect the city. So when we sell property, or when, we're generally allowed to treat property how we choose, but you. But this is under, I think it's 172410 revised code, provides that municipalities can use a CIC to direct the flow of property where they think it would be used best. So we're asking that you direct me to draft that legislation so that we can get that property transferred over.
And this doesn't, there's no fee or anything that we're charged by CIC?
No,
for
so
going-
we yearly, I believe, donate money to the CIC, and this is part of what we get for that.
Great, thank you. Any other questions or concerns? All right, could I have a motion to direct the law director to draft legislation?
So moved. Second?
Rox, please call the roll.
Dan,
Yes.
Ken.
Yes.
Dr. Dave.
Yes.
Molly.
Yes.
Lori.
Yes.
Ross.
Yes.
Joe.
Yes. All right, item K4, discussion or action on CCHC grant application. Joel?
Thank you, Council President. Okay, so, the memo you have in your packet is outdated and inaccurate at this point, so. That's really how things have changed kind of rapidly as the grant deadline approached on April 30th, so. One of the things that we were informed of late last week was that the grant deadline was extended to the end of May 31st. So, rather than read through this, I'll just kind of go through it, and then if anybody reads through it and has any questions or anything, I'll be happy to answer them. So in the end, why this is inaccurate is that the packets went out before we were able to get confirmation on some things. So as we were putting the packets together, they went out. We were informed of this information before we had signed on the grant application. We were informed late Friday afternoon also that the Florida school application was submitted, and they included a request of $541,470. That was a little more than what we had anticipated when the two consultants were in contact with each other. The two consultants being Tetra Tech, who's doing work with Maumee Valley Planning, the Commissioner's Office, and the Land Bank, and CEC, who's doing the application on the city's behalf. Yeah, I see you put me on the 5-minute timer, so
Yeah.
that was probably a good move.
No, yours is on 3.
Yeah, I've already used 2. So in the round one, let me just back up though real quick. This application process is not typical of how the state usually runs these grant applications, especially through, using Clean Ohio funds. But there was $1 million set aside, so this is more of a refresher than anything. $1 million were set aside for each county in the state. That includes both round 1 and round 2 applications. So in round 1, there's a Hamler bulk filling station project. I don't know if anybody's familiar with it, but they requested funds for environmental site assessment work. I believe it was $110,000 and change. And the Florida school submitted on behalf of the land bank, requested about $22,000 and some change for a total of $133,316 for assessment work for round 1. So totaling all of that up, that also counts towards that $1 million set aside. So if you go down to the first table where it says set aside funds, that's the kind of the depiction of what grant funds have been, for lack of a better word, appropriated so far, or accounted for so far. The remainder is obviously what's left of the $1 million set aside. It is anticipated that the Village of Hamler may be seeking to apply for a round 2 application for some type of remediation of the bulk filling station property. And just so we're all clear here that, if somebody puts a parking lot on top of a contaminated piece of soil, that can be considered an engineered barrier to protect the public from exposure to any kind of contamination. So I believe that's what the plan is so far. But that said, clearly on the state's website, it's a first come, first serve, and I believe that they use that term, first come, first serve basis for applications. So whoever's next in would get a chance or a bite at the apple of the remaining money that does not require a match. So for every county that's out there, there's $1 million set aside that doesn't require a match. For any projects that go over that set-aside amount, could still get awarded, but will require to have at least a 25% match. So, you see the first table here has the set-aside funds. The second one would be what the grant application for the city of Napoleon would look like if we were to submit right away. And the reason why we hit the pause button is because of that last line, the 25% match of additional request is higher than the $50,000 to $75,000 that we were anticipating. So it's higher than what we had stated on April 4th, a month ago. So just flipping over to the next page. I asked Chad to, and feel free to jump in at any time if anybody has questions. But I asked Chad to take a look at what it would take to move, I'm going to zoom in here.
Joel, can I interrupt? Can we get these TVs on?
Yes. I don't know where do you know where the remotes are for the TVs?
No, they don't.
So there's a trick to it. You gotta point it at one TV, and then the signal bounces off the other one and turns them both on at the same time. Other than that, you might have there you go. Okay, thank you. So, I asked Chad if, he could put together, let me back up here real quick though. We do have a sanitary sewer that runs through the property, so basically it runs from Avon underneath the bleachers of Loose Field. So you see it coming in here to the backside of, here's the building, and here's where the JLJ auditorium is. So the sewer line runs just on the back of that to a manhole right here, and then it splits. So the main sewer line heads north, I guess this, make sure my orientation, right, northeast towards Scott Street, and then it dumps off and then connects to the sewer system that goes to the wastewater plant. This sewer right here is part of the CSO, Combined Sewer Overflow System, which splinters off to right here, connects to the storm line in the case of an overflow, and then goes and discharges directly to the river in the very few events that we have per year. So I asked Chad to put together an estimate to move this sewer line, the overflow sewer line, to kind of try to run perpendicular to Riverview, and then over to and connect on this side of the storm sewer. And the reason is, that seems like the most logical place to move this sewer line for the sake of redevelopment of this portion of property. So you're kind of squaring it up. At this time, I don't think we do anything with these sewers unless it's necessary, but it is an old sewer line, probably estimated 100 years old or more. So, but we just had it cleaned and televised 6, 7, 8
2015.
years ago, 7 years ago. I swear I'm good with math. I mean it. 7 years ago, and so let me flip back to this, and so the additional, you see in the second page, let me pull it up here too, the potential matching funds. That first line item is the estimate to relocate that sewer overflow line of $103,000. We've completed the Phase 1 environmental site assessment, preliminary site plan, $1,000. Those are solid numbers. The other ones are just what I would call they're just estimates right now at this point. Survey costs, closing costs, in-kind engineering. That's if Chad, you or your group want to do the engineering, just putting a number on it, but that counts as match as well. In-kind demolition I put in there as, removal of some of the smaller things that we could do in-house, like the poles, the fencing, things of that nature. So, and again, just putting a number on it, trying to keep it low so it's, realistic, reasonable. In all likelihood, those numbers could actually be higher. But in total, we do have a potential matching fund of $124,475. So, other than that, the last thing is that even though it doesn't specifically state in the application that an ordinance or resolution is required, however, there is a field to upload a document for an ordinance or resolution. So I think it's best that we do actually have an ordinance or resolution to kind of solidify the commitment to this if City Council wants to move forward and pursue this grant application. So that's the reason for the request for the drafting legislation. If there's concurrence from everybody here to move forward with this grant application, my suggestion would be to get this submitted immediately, as quickly as possible, as soon as Tuesday morning, so that the City of Napoleon application is the next one in. And in terms of trying to answer a question before it's asked, in terms of getting the application submitted before the resolution is passed. If it does wind up being required, then I think it's good, one, we can show the minutes that city council's having the law director draft this legislation with this information. Two, there is a cure period typically, and that's how it was in round one. There's a cure period, so if they say, hey, you need a resolution, here it is. So we'll have it in hand already, ready for the cure period, so. Other than that, I don't really have anything else other than just to kind of inform everybody of the recent activity that's been going on in relation to the grant application for the demolition, the application for demolition of the former Central School property. So I'll take a pause, see if anybody has questions, comments, concerns. I'm just filling the air, the dead space now.
Joel, is work on that sewer going to have to be done regardless on if we reroute it?
You mean the overflow, just the overflow piece?
Correct.
That one's actually a little bit newer. That one's actually plastic. The other ones are clay, clay. So they're leakier, the older ones are. This newer one, in my opinion, would need to be moved in order to help facilitate a better development of this property right here. The way it's kind of, it's not even, you know, bifurcated, it's more trifurcated, the way the property sits, it would be, my opinion, very difficult to get a reasonable type of development on this triangular shaped property. So squaring it up makes a ton of sense if you're to get a commercial or even a mixed use commercial residential type of development on that property. So the answer is we don't have to at this moment in time, but to me it seems logical for the development of property, future development.
If we do go over the $1 billion, you know, if we throw in asking for the grant and it goes over the $1 million, and we have to do the 25% matching, is that just matching on what's left over the $1 million, or is that 25% matching on the entire amount because we broke the limit?
Only matching on what goes over, the additional request.
Okay.
So additional request, so the remaining amount of set aside.
Whatever's over the $1 million, right, okay.
Is right here.
I just wanted
Yep.
clarification on that.
Yes.
Any other questions or comments?
25% match on the front is 118, the back number is 124.
That's correct, yeah.
Okay, so help me understand why we have two different numbers.
Well, these are just estimates for what we could consider as match. Meaning there's 124,000, there's more than $118,000 worth of matching funds.
Okay.
So that's just,
That's all.
the 118 is a bare minimum
That's
based on this.
all part of the project? I mean, that was all going to be asked, requesting funds to do all of that?
So the matching portion can be anything from infrastructure to soft costs, even legal fees and closing costs, consulting costs. All of those can be factored in, even in kind. The plan was that the city's portion of match would be sewer related because of the age of the sewer pipes and the configuration, really. So that was always, the plan was to have some type of infrastructure portion associated with it to help facilitate that, future development of the site. Now, actually putting pen to paper, which I asked Chad to do today, we're using, I would guess 75,000 would have been a safe number to move that sewer line, but, you know, today's numbers, I think you're better. Better doing it that way. I mean, even the demo and cleanup cost for the Florida school was higher than what they had preliminarily discussed.
And we think the demo and cleanup of just the building would be how much?
We have hard quotes on that. Demo of the building itself, that's 4 foot below grade, is $550,000. And removal of the parking lot would be roughly $50,000. There's a price per square foot on that. So $600,000 is a quote, and that does include using prevailing wages.
Mr. President,
Yes.
correct me if I'm wrong, but we originally talked about around 75, so we're talking about 40 to 50,000 more than the original amount. Am I
That's
correct?
Mhm.
Okay.
That's correct.
Councilman Barry, I also think we had an offer one time for more than 75 for a portion of complex, I think.
Okay. Oh, okay.
So right now, I guess, in terms of a recommendation, you know, it could go one of any number of ways. It could be back out completely. Could be move forward, move ahead, commit to the whole match, or it could be commit to a portion of the match and ask the parties to come up with a remainder. So,
So
either way, we have to get a commitment.
I got a quick question. The 118 number is 25% of what number? Because
Um,
118 is
so-
25% of 456,
The
474.
474, that's right. So the addition of this and this is 474.
Okay.
Awkward pause.
For clarification,
Yeah.
Bless you.
we become ownership of the property, we being the city. No other owners. Cultural
That's-
Center's not an owner, Angel Donor's not an owner.
That was a part of what has been discussed and actually agreed to if the grant is awarded by the CCHC board. There was a motion and a second, and it was passed unanimously. So that was a part of the consent to access agreement. That was part of the communication that we had with all of the parties, including Billy and myself. The CCHC board president and their attorney, and another attorney and a donor.
Can I have Mr. Ton just come up? I saw when City Manager Mazer was saying stuff, you were nodding. I just want to get on record that you agree with kind of what Joel just said. Is that possible? Do you feel comfortable doing that?
Yeah, he looks really comfortable right now.
I know.
He looks really comfortable.
I just want to, because when Finance Director asked about, are we the owners of it if this passes and we get it? Joel was saying yes, and I looked back at you and you were nodding in agreement. That's all.
So we did vote on a resolution in principle to go along with the grant, and the property would be the city of Napoleon's.
Okay. And
the potential donor, Napoleon area schools, nobody else has any kind of deed restriction that you're aware of for that
Not
route?
I'm aware- Yeah.
Okay.
I've talked to the angel donor, and she'd rather put that money towards something better in the city than demoing a building.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Just want to make sure we got it. Since there's a representative here, let's, we'll make him earn all the money he's getting from the CCH board tonight.
No, more like headaches.
Thank you very much.
In kind.
It's in kind, yes.
Any other questions, comments? Okay, so we're just looking for a motion to direct the law director to draft legislation tonight.
Yep.
Okay.
Now, the legislation would include a commitment to this match, is the way it sits here.
So by agreeing to direct the law director, we also are agreeing to submit the application tomorrow? Is that what we're doing? I'm looking around the table, make sure everybody's clear.
Right.
The application will go in.
Okay.
We were concerned about this going up initially,
Sure.
so was the last time?
You know what? I can't say yes to that. There's been so many twists and turns in this whole process that it really, things change a lot. Out of all the projects I've ever been a part of, this has changed. This is up there with one other project. Probably has changed a lot. Conditions have changed a lot more in a shorter period of time than any other project I've been a part of.
I think I probably would have felt more comfortable if we had sort of set a threshold that, because we knew there could be some fluctuation.
I kind of feel the same way, although hearing what Joel's proposing today with the overflow relocation, which we've talked about, I think, with this property for a couple of years now. And when Councilman Commodore was here, he would say every time, where there's a sewer line, and that's right in the way. And I think with upping the amount that we were comfortable adding to this, but now at least we're gonna get some benefit, and it may help with a resale or economic development down the road. That helps me be a little bit more comfortable with this.
I can't make a motion.
I was gonna just say, I'll make a motion
Great.
to have the
Oh.
law director draft legislation.
Thank you.
Mhm.
I'll second.
Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, Rox, please call the roll.
Dan,
Yes.
Ken,
My delay would be longer, yes.
Dr. Dave,
I think it's an important piece of property that needs to have a chance to be developed. I give a yes.
Molly,
Yes.
Lori,
Oh, boy. I agree with your comments about the importance of the property. I really am nervous about, I vote yes.
Ross,
Yes.
Joe.
Yes. Okay, moving on to K5, discussion and action, purchase of a pickup truck for the engineering department from state contract.
Okay, so in the budget, we had a line item for the engineering department to purchase a truck. Here's the basic package with some of the upfits at a total of $39,845. And we have a budgeted amount of $40,000, and this is off a state term contract, so we're looking for an approval from city council to move forward.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Hey, Rox, please call the roll.
Dan,
Yes.
Ken,
Yes.
Dr. Dave,
Yes.
Molly,
Yes.
Lori,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
Joe.
Yes.
Thank you.
It's only been 17 years or something.
All right, we'll go around the table. Kevin?
I've got nothing to add.
Okay. Molly?
Nothing, thank you.
Lori?
Nothing for me.
Ross?
Nothing for me.
Jason?
I know we're throwing cold patch around like crazy right now, but I've had some requests to look at Euclid. And there's another dead end that escapes my mind right now, so I'll think of it. I'll zap you an email. What's that?
Detroit?
Nope, that's not it. No, but there's, when I think of it, I'll let you know, so.
Okay.
Spent yesterday afternoon with Congressman Latta. He had a reception at the 180th Fighter Wing for kids that are going to service academy, so it's always good to see those kids, the best, the brightest. I think the closest to us is probably, there's a gentleman that goes to Fort County for the first time coming out of there, going to West Point. So congratulations to all those kids and best of luck to them. This morning into this early afternoon, Governor DeWine was in town. All three county commissioners, Representative Hoops, State Senator McCulley were there, along with, all kinds of people from the school were there as well. So Mrs. DeWine read to some kindergartners, and then I caught up with them when they're joining to the junior high. And he went to see them have lunch, and the look on Mr. Wild's face when Governor DeWine shows up with a bunch of 7th and 8th graders eating lunch was something to behold. So I appreciate him being in town, and hopefully he enjoyed his stay. After this, he went on to, I think, to Lima. Did everybody get this from the Veterans of Foreign Wars today? Did you get this invitation for the? Yes. Okay. Can we all get a RSVP, yes or no, to Roxanne by the end of the week, so she can she can let Mr. Wagner know? Is that possible? It's on the 30th of May. It's at 10 a.m. Usually we're done by noon. So if you guys can get that done by Friday at noon, so she can call the VFW Friday afternoon and make sure that they know. Is that okay, Roxanne? Thank you very much. And that is all I had. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Dan?
Nothing.
Ken?
I do appreciate that street sweeper. He got around almost everywhere, I believe.
Yep, we've been through once, we're working on second.
It's just too bad that we have to have so much parking on the streets that he can't get everything. That's all I have.
All right. Dr. Dave?
Nothing to report.
Billy?
Nothing new from me. I would ask that Chad be allowed to attend the executive session already scheduled.
Okay. Yeah. Joel?
Yeah, the street sweeper has been out, and it's been, put a lot of miles on it. It's been probably filling up the hopper more than a typical year.
Oh, yeah.
We're okay, but we fixed it.
Yeah. Yeah. The other thing is, the prices of items. I know we're trying to keep tabs on this as much as we can, and we said we would do that throughout the year and just kind of keeping tabs on everything. The annual resurfacing project, do we?
I didn't get an answer yet, but I've been told the price is maybe 10 to 20% higher than what we had estimated just a month or 6 weeks ago. I'm hoping to get an answer on that this week.
Yeah. So if not, we're looking at maybe doing an extension of the bid due date to make sure we don't get another non-bid. So if we got to make adjustments, just FYI when that comes up. And that's all I have. Thank you.
So we have a report to Ken. Joel and I went to the, Arbor Day planting of a tree, and we noticed that there was somebody in the dog park. So I know it's important to you, and I think Joel.
That's twice.
Yeah.
It was a second sighting.
Right, yes.
Second sighting in how many years?
Right, but I appreciate the tree commission and all they do in helping with the trees in town, and it was a fun experience to help dig a hole, put a tree in there. So I want to thank them for all their efforts. And that's all I have.
And there was a bald eagle that flew over the.
Yes, we have flyover during the ceremony.
Yep, called that one in.
Yep.
Can't be more
Fine.
American than that.
Yeah.
All right, could I have a motion to go into executive session for pending or imminent court action?
A motion.
Second.
Hey, Rox, please call the roll.
Dan,
Yes.
Ken,
Yes.
Dr. Dave,
Yes.
Molly,
Yes.
Lori,
Yes.
Ross.
Yes.
Joe.
Yes. Could I have a motion to come out of executive session for pending or imminent court action?
Motion.
Second.
All right. Rox, please call the roll.
Dan,
Yes.
Ken.
Yes.
Dr. Dave.
Yes.
Molly.
Yes.
Lori.
Yes.
Ross.
Yes.
Joe.
Yes. And item M, approve payment of bills in the absence of any objections or corrections. Payment of bills shall stand approved. Stand approved. Item N, adjournment. Is there a motion?
A motion.
Second.
Did I hear a second?
Yeah, here.
Okay, Rox, please call the roll.
Dan,
Yes.
Ken.
Yes.
Dr. Dave.
Yes.
Molly.
Yes.
Lori.
Yes.
Ross.
Yes.
Joe.
Yes.